Well, this is continuation to the last lecture on string class methods. So in the last session we saw two lowercase, two uppercase, split function, substring, region matches, concat, all these functions. So this is in continuation to the string class functions. These are the other functions of string class. Followed by very, very important topic today is the discussion on hash code method, importance and its implementation in string class and various other classes. Even if we write our own class, how to implement hash code method, that is also explained in this, will be explained in this video. And here is an example. Complete string class, all methods are explained here. Then followed by, we'll end up the session with string buffer and a string builder. That is at the end. Coming to the continuation of string class methods. In string class, see how many methods are given? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 value of methods are given. These are all static methods. 8 static methods, value of named 8 static methods are given. The value of method is written 8 times. It is overloaded for 8 times. Why value of method is overloaded for 8 times? Each time it took boolean ones, char ones, carrier ones, double ones, float ones, int ones, long ones, object ones, like that. Why value of function is overloaded for 8 times and why it is given as a static method and how it is useful to the developer. So that is a point. To this question, the answer is the most frequently used primitive data types in my experience are int, long, double. From the numeric data types, int more frequently, long little bit lesser used, and in the floating point value, double data type is more frequently used. Of that, char and boolean in rare occasions. Boolean is also used more, but char used less, little bit less. Shortened almost byte or not used at all in the program. Float is also not necessary because mostly we use double, so we don't use float much. So we are having an int value. Some int I is equal to something. You take some int value. And similarly, you are having one double value. D is equal to 10.24. Char ch is equal to anything you place in single quotation will be considered as a character. One boolean variable b is equal to some true or false. The point is, in Java there is a special API available called wrapper classes. Wrapper classes I have already discussed in the very earlier session. Wrapper classes are used to convert string to various data types. Like say for example, if age is given in a form of string, if a product price is given in a form of string, and if the gender like male or female, M or F, is given in a form of string, and we want to convert them into the respective value. Because why we want to convert string to primitive types? Because not only in Java, in most of the programming languages, desktop, web, and all other types of applications. You take any language, Java, you take C, you take C++, you take Java, you take Python, you take PHP, you take C Sharp, you take the most you can use languages. In all these languages, across in all these languages, standalone applications, non-graphical user interface applications, graphical user interface applications, web applications, they are most frequently used. Across in all these applications, the user entered input always comes into the application in a form of string, whether it may be an int value or double value or char value or boolean value or a string value. The best example is the public static void main parameter string args. So it takes a command input through command line arguments as a string only. So later on we need to convert them into respective type. How? Suppose if age is entered through a command line argument. So what we'll do is we'll use a wrapper class called integer class dot parse int method we use. And here we'll pass some command line argument, 0th argument through which you are passing your age. So that string will be converted to int. Similarly, price will come, or your salary will come, or the fee amount you paid will come through a command line argument, args of 1. If that is a floating point value, you get double dot parse double of args of 1, and you get that fee amount or price or employee salary, like that. So we have learned how to convert string to int or string to double. The actual value is int only, but that is in a form of string. To convert it into int, we can't do typecasting, right? We need to use this wrapper class. Similarly, for int, long, float, double, char, boolean, for everything. This is completely opposite. We want to convert primitive values into string, the opposite side. So if you want to convert int or a double or a char or a boolean to string, the simplest way, the shortest way is just put in a string str is equal to, simply put I in Java to any variable or to any object. If you put plus symbol and add an empty string, empty double quotation, finish. You add an empty string to any primitive member, int or long or float or double or char or boolean, to any primitive variable. If you concatenate an empty string, plus is a concatenation operator, double quotation is an empty string. If you concatenate an empty string to any primitive member, that immediately becomes a string. Same thing you can do for double also. str is equal to d 10.24 plus empty double quotation. Finish. Double converted into string. So this is the shortest way, including for the character and boolean also. This is one way of converting primitive member to string. And are there any other ways to do this conversion? Like I'll write it only for the int to string conversion. Same thing you can do for other types also. Any other type so that we can convert int into string. One is concatenating empty string is one way. The other way is for every primitive data type, as we discussed, one wrapper class exists in Java, right? For int integer, for long, for float, for double, like that. For char, character, for boolean, like that. So for every primitive data type, one wrapper class is given. So what you do? You wrap. Wrapping means containing, taking and containing, putting into something is called as wrapping. You wrap that int value into integer. You wrap int value into integer. You wrap int value into integer and then call integer dot to string. Because in every class, three methods are commonly available. what they are, equals hash code and toString. You wrap int into integer, call integer dot toString, int into integer, integer to dot toString method call will convert that integer object into string. But this is a long about procedure, right? But this is one of the way. And third way is in string class, for every primitive data type, one value of method is given, right? Is it there? Value of value of int, value of int, value of int I. If you give, this will be converted to string. See, value of method function takes int as a parameter, a return string. It's a static method. Static method, so that I called with class name dot method name, passed into values, into variable as argument, that return string value. So there are three ways to convert a primitive member to string. One is concatenating empty string. Second one is wrapping primitive value into its wrapper class and then call that wrapper class object dot toString method. And third one is using string dot value of. If you pass any primitive member, string will be written. Among these three, which one we found easiest way to convert a primitive to string is my first priority is concatenating with empty string. We need not have to use any API, right? Just one concatenation operator and empty string. But why these many methods are given? Methods are given, see, according to our convenience. If at all, if int is already wrapped in integer, if you want to convert it into string, you can use this. Otherwise, you need not have to explicitly create an integer object for this conversion. It is little bit expensive. One integer object creation itself is some little bit expensive. And this is one way and this is another way. Which one if you prefer means without using any API, because we are doing this, this is the preferred way. But remember one more thing. During this conversion, you must be careful. You know why? During this type of conversion, you must concatenate an empty string. Empty string means double quotations without any space. Double quotations without any space. Suppose if the developer wrongly types giving double quotation but with a single empty character space. Generally, in the notepad or editors, when you're typing the program, you may not notice that there is a space exists between two double quotations because of the two. From font to font it will vary. In some fonts, for single character and for empty string, we cannot notice the difference in the double quotation. Suppose if developer wrongly leaves one empty character space in the double quotation, int with such a empty character, one that blank character, I should not say empty. Empty means nothing. One blank character will be stored into string. Suppose in future, if you convert such a string to int back, you will get number format exception because of that space character. Then what you have to do? Every time when you are converting string to int in the integer.parsing method, before passing string, you call string.trim. Trim will remove any leading or trailing before or after spaces if exist. They will be removed, then original value will be converted. As such a precautionary measure, if you take trimming string before passing into integer.parsing method, if you do, you can avoid that number format exception, parsing exception. If you don't do, there is a chance of number format exception. If you concatenate, not while concatenating and blank character. Again, while converting this string to int, then that problem arises. But whereas in case of string dot value of function, if you call and pass int, you cannot keep any chance of doubt like whether it adds a blank character or not. It will 100% adds empty character and converts it into string. So that way these methods are useful. Hmm? And I can explain so many things, but it will take a lot of time. Each method explanation will take a lot of time. For primitive types, you understood, right? For the primitive types, you understood. For the primitive types, you understood. What about this value of method? I'll explain this conversion in brief from my knowledge, but I cannot go very in depth because so many methods have to teach. For all the methods, it's clear. But coming to the value of method with an object, how this is converted into string. That is the point. For example, the most frequently used class in our examples is employee. Employee, student, customer, product, order. These are most commonly used, right? If you name employee, employee contains employee ID, employee name, salary, designation. If I tell about a class like employee, you can immediately assume how employee class exists with the private variables, one operator constructor, one parameterized constructor, one pair of public setter and getter methods for each private variable, one equals, one toString, one hash code. And if, as a to the Java developers, to us, if any class is given, if any class is given to us to implement with only private variables, we need to write remaining code, declare classes public and declare variables as private, write no parameter and parameters constructor, pair of setter and getter methods equals to string hash code method. Recently, I saw so many off-campus recruitments. In that, what I noticed is they're giving very simple example. In the written example, in technical round, in the written example, they're giving very simple, questions. The question is, they themselves will give one class like this with all the private variables, and they'll ask us only to write one public parameters constructor and one pair of setter and getter method for all these variables. That's it. The question itself, they'll ask, please fill the gap of you write one constructor with all the parameters and you write one pair of setter and getter method for these variables. That too, one more additional help that they will do in the question itself is because if that student can understand and write it, he'll get good marks. He can secure full marks in that question. Many surprising things are is they'll even give the sample code. They'll even give sample code in the multi-line comment. A student reads that multi-line comment and there itself they'll give the actual code there in the comment, multi-line comment. So whatever they have given in the multi-line comment, if they write outside the multi-line comment, that itself is code they need to fill in the blank. That's it. Similarly, one setter and getter also sample they'll give like that. You need to write setter and getter for the remaining variables. That's it. That will secure one out of some 2-3 programs they give. One example is like this. They know the basic of writing Java bean, almost to one of the question you can answer. That's how simple sometimes the written is. Even a student cannot understand that and fill the blank, they lose the mark. How but it is. So okay. So employee, employee name, salary, and designation. What else? No parameter constructor, parameters constructor, pair of set and getter methods for each variable. The next, what else? Equals hash code and toString methods, right? How toString method is, see, in every Java user defined Java class, we must make a habit of overriding equals hash code and toString methods. Make it habit. Make a habit of how to write equals hash code toString methods in every class. Almost more than 50% of the program constitutes with these basic coding only. So if you take string toString method, for example, how this method is implemented, that I am explaining. Public string toString. Public string toString. ToString is the method. So in this, the developer who is writing employee class must know how to implement toString method. How to implement toString method? Very simple. In the toString method, we must convert complete employee object state. In the toString method, we must completely convert employee object state. In the toString method, we must convert employee object state into a string form. Have written employee ID plus employee name plus salary plus designation. toString method is like that equals and hash code methods also we have tried. Class close. So if you pass string dot value of method and suppose okay employee class is completed, okay, and in the client program if you create employee object, employee even is equal to new employee of employee ID, employee name, some salary, some designation, like that if you create one employee object and if you pass that employee object as argument into value of method, that will return string basis. See, to convert employee object into string, we need not have to use string dot value of method. Already employee class is having one overridden method named toString method exists. If you call that, you will directly get a string object. Every class contains toString method. On the class object, if you call toString method, you will get a string form of the object. Even if you call string dot value of and if you pass any object as argument, they'll internally call return that object dot object. They don't know which object it is, but it is an object. That object's toString method will be called. Finish. This is the internal implementation of its one line code. That is internal implementation of string class value of method taking object as an argument. Instead of calling string dot value of method, you can directly call toString method on the employee object because every class contains equals hash code and toString methods. It is that simple. See, API gives several options to use. Whichever option you feel convenient, use it. Right. Almost. It wasted half an hour. But we learned one of the way to convert different types to string. That is completed here. Coming to the equals method and equals ignore case method. In every class, one more very, very important method is equals. Because the context came, I'll explain about the equals method here. And also one more important note you have to remember. The note is, in Java, you can compare two primitive members or two primitive variables or two primitive values. Primitive variables or primitive values with equal to operator. Two primitive members can be compared with equal to operator. If I1 is equal to I2 is valid. Both are integer variables. If price 1 is equal to price 2, both are double variables. You can compare with equal to. But if any two objects you take, if you take any two objects must be compared with equals method but not with equal to operator. For example, if you take string here, like string str6 is socket, S cap letter, SAKETH. Second, that str6 dot equals off. Here, equals method is comparing socket essence monitor. What is the return value of this equals method? Is this method returns false? Because internally what equals method does, the equals method implementation in string class internally uses one method as you already know, I mentioned in the last session, string is a array of characters. Fixed length character array is a string, I said. The string internal representation is character array that we know, but it is available as a single object called string. And instead of operating on the array, character array, that such problem we face in the C programming, avoid that the character array are wrapped into one string, and in string class some convenient methods given. Those methods are given in the C and C++ also, but we need to operate on the character indexes, which makes the programming difficult to write. And but in Java, such a character is wrapped into one string object, and in string class some convenient methods are given. We can use them. Hmm. So if the moment you call string 6 dot equals of socket in string class, in the next slides, I'll show you those methods. In string class, get bytes, get bytes, get bytes, get chars to char array, get bytes, get chars, get chars to char array. Named three methods are given to extract byte array from string. Get bytes method must be used. If you want to convert each and every character in the string into its ASCII value, and all the characters ASCII value, if you want to get it into one byte array, you can call get bytes method. Get chars is a different method that I'll explain you in the next slides. To char array is there. To char array function gives all the characters inside that string that they'll take. And this is the internal implementation of equals method. And second object also exists, right? This object. That object is also converted into some string 2 internally. And this equals method. String 2 is equal to, that will come as an object. That object is converted into string. On string 2 also, they'll call to char array. And this is how the internal implementation lies in Cartesian. This is how the equals method is implemented in string class I'm explaining you. And similarly, I'll explain you how to implement equals method in employee and other classes also very soon. Because context came, we want to little bit deviate from the string class, and we should see how equals method is implemented in string class, and how equals method we should implement in our user-defined classes also, like employee. I'll explain. So they converted a current string object into a character array, the past string object also into character array. And before doing the comparison, they'll first of all check whether these two character lengths are equal or not. If the length of these two character arrays are same, then we can go one step ahead. Then we can compare their each character from 0th index, 1 index, 2 index, 3 index, 4 index like that. If the length itself is not there and both are two different strings, why do you unnecessarily compare? That's the first point. So ch dot, as you already know, there is one property exists in every array variable called length. Ch dot length is equal to length returns that array's length. It is an int. Two ints can be compared with equal to ch dot length is equal to ch1 dot length. If both character array lengths are same, and that means if both string lengths are same, then what they do is they'll take one for loop. They'll write int I is equal to 0. I is less than that ch dot length I plus plus. That is to extract each and every character from both the indexes. If ch of I, and from the first character array, from 0th index, that first character will come. Characters again compared with equal to. Characters are primitive data. ch of I is equal to ch1 of I. అంటే zeroth index of these two characters, index number 1 of these two characters, index number 2 of these two characters, index number 3 of these two characters are compared. So as long as the comparison is true, it will keep quiet. Internally, they'll keep on boolean variable. Flag is equal to true, like that. Flag is equal to true. Else is very important. At any point of time, if the characters at both the characters and at a particular index of character in these two characters, if are not same, any one character mismatches, else flag is equal to immediately false. Immediately. Even if single character mismatches, flag is equal to false, and immediately which keyword is used or the programming construct is used to break the loop. Break. The moment break is returned, break breaks the loop, else block if you close, and you close the for loop also. The moment break you call, the for loop will break and no more further indexes are compared. But because even a single character at any one of the indexes of these two characters or if mismatched, the whole comparison is false. Flag is equal to false, break. Simple finish. That outer if is also closed. And internally they'll return flag. Nothing but false. If all character comparisons are equal, flag is equal to true, true will be true. This is the equals method comparison in string class. Now you tell me, do you compare two string objects with equals method or with a equal to operator? If you use equals method, this much story will run behind the function to determine to return true or false. If you read string str6 is equal to sacket, will that work? As far as programming is concerned, this statement is correct. There is nothing wrong comparing two objects with equal to operator. It is not a compiler. It is not a compilation error. It doesn't cause compilation error. Nothing. Because two objects also can be compared with equal to symbol. No doubt. Syntax wise it is correct. But logic wise, how far it is correct? Because equal to will only compare their addresses. Their addresses. While creating string Saket as calculator, it is in a different object. This Saket is in a different object. Both addresses are different. This is house number 12 and this is house number 30. If I ask you, can't you compare two objects with equal to operator? You can say yes. And also you should add one more point. Yes, we can add two objects with equal to operator, but only their addresses are compared but not their states. Then in order to compare the state of two objects, what mechanism must be used? Equals method must be used. Same thing, not only for string, same thing applicable for all other classes: employee, student, customer, product, order, item, etc. Hope this is clear about the equals method. And in this comparison, the first character and the zeroth index character itself, and the first condition itself, first iteration, first comparison, here capital letter S and small letter s, both are not same. Flag is equal to false, written flag. The loop even doesn't iterate for second time. The first time iteration itself, the loop will break and flag value false will be written. Because cases are different. Is this clear? The same thing if you do with equals ignore case. Because I'll tell you one best example how useful the equals method is, and how not that much important the equals method. You take simple login credentials, username and password. So while entering into any business system or database or into any application, we will be first asked to enter username and password. Sometimes mistakenly we may enter the username in capital letter. Sometimes Active Surya is my email ID. Suppose if I enter Active Surya as my email ID, if the login fails, how does it feel? I'll enter correct password, but instead of entering Active Surya in small letter, mistakenly I entered A in capital letter. Because in some editors like MS Word, the starting word will automatically be converted into capital letter. And I'm not comparing with Word, but it won't happen in Notepad or password text user text field. Suppose if my username is Active Surya, it must be written in small letter. If I enter capital letter A, will this give error for this capital letter A? It shouldn't give, because username need not be case sensitive. Capital letter can be used strictly and recommended that username must be in small letter. And even though if any capital letter is entered also, it should be accepted. It should be accepted as a valid username. But coming to the password, in the password is 100% case sensitive. In the password, exactly whatever you enter, that must be compared with your password exists in the database, including case sensitive. If the cases are matches only, then login will be successful. If not, login should fail. And password you better compare with equals method. But username you better compare with equals ignore case, but not with equals method. Sometimes because we may enter capital letter also in the place of small letter. For that reason, the equals method should not give false for the username. And for the username, equals ignore case is recommended. And um, uh, for the password kind, use equals method. Hope up to that is clear. And as I promised you, because the context came, I'm explaining once again. As I promised you, I've shown how equals method is implemented in string class. String is already a predefined class, right? And suppose if you want to implement equals method, how do you implement it? In this example, I'm covering how to implement equals method, hash code method, equals method, hash code method, and toString method of employee class. Same thing if you practice for 4 other classes also, you will also get hands-on on writing Java beans. Variables, constructors, and setter-getter methods. Last implemented toString method, I'm not writing here, I'm writing only equals method. Suppose if you are asked to implement equals method in employee class, and then you take a little bit left here, class employee. Public boolean. What is the signature of equals method? Public boolean equals method. What is the parameter in equals method? Object. In employee class, we are implementing employee class. In employee class, we are overriding equals method. Equals method is coming from object superclass, supermost class, from the java.lang.object superclass. From that we are getting equals method, and that superclass method we are overriding here. So that's why the signature of the equals method is public boolean equals object O. Immediately what we should do, we should internally check. And first of all, in the method, you always declare one local variable whose type is equal to your equals method return type. Bool B is equal to false. and then you check first. If the object passed for the comparison, is object passed for the comparison, is the object passed for the comparison, is it an instance of type employee? We are asking. We are asking, is object came here, is that object is an instance of employee type or not? We are asking. If the passed object here in equals method, if its type is not an employee, we should not compare. One employee object should be compared with another employee object, but employee object should not be compared with department object or student object or customer object, right? So first of all, we are confirming whether the coming object in equals method is it an instance of employee or not. If it is an employee object, then you convert the object into employee. Then you convert object into employee. You convert object into employee. And first we are confirming, is it an employee type object or not? Yes. If then we are converting the object into employee. Then this is very, very important. This is very, very important. This is very, very important. How two employee class objects can be compared? String class equals method comparison is different. String class internal representation is character. That is why the equals method implementation in string class is to compare two characters, different index characters. That is its implementation. How about employee class equals method comparison is not identical to that. Here the variables are employee ID, employee name, salary, and designation. 4 variables, right? See here. Now here we should first write this dot employee ID. That means our current object. If current object employee ID is equal to even dot get EID, and the object came for the comparison is that employee object employee ID and our current object employee ID, if both are same. If both are same and then not RR means any one will be true, then true will be returned. All must be true. If our current object employee ID and object came for the comparison, that object's employee ID both are same, and then if this dot employee name dot equals of even dot get employee name, because we are directly calling ename variable in the equals method, because ename variable, though it is a private variable, the private variable of employee class and this equals method both are in the same class. Private members can be accessed into its methods. That is why we directly call this dot ename dot equals. But on the employee object, we cannot get directly employee name variable. E dot get ename function we have to call. Get ename. Because string comparison is with equals. And then this dot salary is equal to even dot get salary, and then this dot designation dot equals of even dot get designation. If these we need, it have 4 conditions. Looking so big, but here we are after comparing only 4 variables. 4 variables of our class with 4 variables of the object came for the comparison. If all the conditions are true, then flag is equal to true. Otherwise, flag is false by default. 2 if conditions are closed, return flag. Equals method close, class close. This is this if condition, this is if condition, written flag, equals method close, class close. This is how the equals method must be implemented in employee class. Same way you implement equals method in every class. Remember, you compare that object's every variable with the object came for the comparison, that object's every variable. Compare them. If all are equal, return true, otherwise false. That is the logic of equals method. Is it clear? So equals method of string class also we have seen, and the equals method of employee class also we have seen. So in the same way you can implement equals method two-string method. Hash code method is left. Hash code method also I'll explain. So implement in other classes.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.